All right, my name is Kenny Liu. This is Venerable Master Zhen Huan. You may call as Master Huan. Master Huan. Before we begin, would like to have two volunteers. One on this side and one on this side. All right, you and then you. All right, your name? Malachi. Malachi, and then your name? Anita. Okay, you go to the other side, and then you go to the other side. We'll dress you up. Okay. Yeah, right, you get support here. Okay, so we will give you a brief introduction of what this hall is about, and then you get a chance to ask questions. And we also will be going over to the other side, to the lecture hall, to answer all of your questions. So any questions that come to mind, please ask. We're here to share. We're here to encourage learning. So the purpose of today's field trip is to learn about other religions, right? You have gone through two other churches, mosques, and here at the Buddhist, you call it a Buddhist society. It's not really a temple. It is a temple in the sense of where we have a Buddha statue, but it's more of an educational center. So the focus of today is to learn about other religions so that when we have understanding of each other, we can communicate, we can collaborate, and we become happier because we can work together. Right? So today's message, if anything you take away, I want to say up front, is to learn, to accept, and to collaborate with each other. Okay, so please, Venerable Master.
Right, so welcome everyone. So today you have go to different trips. Now you start here, we call main hall. Main hall for Buddhist practice. So in our congregation, we have a main hall. Everywhere temple you go, there is a main hall. It's where the congregation members gather in their practice. And also, like Kenny mentioned about, is also location for education. So Amida Society, Amida is taking the name from the Buddha's name, Amitabha Buddha. It's a Sanskrit. So Ami is a Sanskrit, it's believed to be a universal sound. When you chant it, you feel vibrate in your brain, and it's believed when you chant that name of Amitabha Buddha, that vibration in your brain open a window where you see that things transcendental, and also things related to spirituality. So now the statue you see, we have three here. In the middle, like I introduced, is Amitabha Buddha. And we have on the right side, Avalokita Bodhisattva, or Guan Yin in Chinese. Guan means to see, or he who sees. Yin means to hear, or he who hears. Here's what? Here's quiet. Here's people's crying, people's suffering. And also the Bodhisattva represents the quality of compassion. So once you're here, you see the suffering, what's the next step you do? You arise that compassion, reach out your hands and help. Then we have the other Bodhisattva on the left side, Bodhisattva of great strength, inner strength. So Amitabha Buddha represents he who fully enlightened and now dwell in the Pure Land, and has the couple of Bodhisattvas on both sides represent the quality of Amitabha, that in the Bodhisattva path, to hear the crying, to see the crying, to reach out with inner strength, and to help people liberate from suffering.
So, also in the middle here we have our historical Shakyamuni Buddha, or before that he was known as Siddhartha Gautama. So the middle Buddha is the historical figure, and because from him that we learn about Amitabha, even though Amitabha was never born in this world, but we know about him because he is located in a different part of the universe. And although we've not seen him, but because of our historical teachers that we learn about him. So we see that Buddhism is very symbolic, right? From the figures the figures on your right represents compassion. Figures on your left represents inner strength, great strength. So when you go to a temple, when you see Buddha figures, what do you remember on the right hand side? Compassion, and then on the left, strength, right? So those serve as reminders for us to practice compassion towards ourselves, towards friends and family, towards strangers like your mailman, your cashier at the local grocery store that you don't know about. And then next is towards your people that you don't like about friends and enemies, foes, and enemies. And then next level is all sentient beings. So Buddhism is about expressing compassion and developing strength for all sentient beings. So why Buddhism? Why have this church? This temple. For example, in school you do have, in high school, I'm not sure in school you have now, but in high school there will be like clubs, math club. Mr. Loomis, do they have those clubs? Yeah, okay, so for example, there's math clubs, for example. So those who are interested in math, who think that they can solve problems through math, will join a math club. Right? So same thing here. Those who believe in compassion, and believe in inner strength, and believe in enlightenment will join the Buddhist club. So you can think of it that way. So it's very symbolic. It's nothing about against anything else. It's just that, hey, they believe that's what's good for them. And so they're free to choose. Right, so next we will have an incense offering, and that incense offering you can see here, and that's very common in all temples. And the smoke from the incense permeates. So what that symbolizes is that compassion and our inner strength permeates throughout the universe. Right, so the smoke doesn't discriminate in any particular direction. It permeates throughout the universe, throughout space, equally. The same thing when we as Buddhists practice Buddhism, we want to project the loving kindness, compassion to all sentient beings equally. Whether it's a family, whether it's people you may not like, but when there's an opportunity to help them, we help them. So that's the spirit of Buddhism. And when we bow, like the Masters demonstrated, we learn about humility. It's through humility that you can learn about, you will learn. If there's arrogance, it's very unlikely that you will learn, or you think you know it all. So when we practice Buddhism, we pray, we are practicing humility. And one thing that people who do not know Buddhism, when they look at statues, the first thing that usually that comes to mind is, hey, these people are idolizing statues. And that is not the case, because idolizing in some parts of the world, they treat a figure like a statue, like a real human, where they put on their clothes, they feed them, they cook every day, secure a lot of food, and every day they cook, they are infusing food and life into that statue as if it was a real human being. They would play music, they would bathe, and they would treat. And at the end, all of that was to ask for a favor, to grant them something that they look for. So some people come to a Buddhist temple with that kind of mindset that they seek for a winning lottery or an A grade for the children, for example. But that's not the spirit of Buddhism. For us, spirit of Buddhism is we do pray, but we pray for the strength to do good deeds. We pray for compassion to share with other people, right? To treat other people with loving kindness. We pray for inner strength to help do good deeds. So that's one difference about not understanding and understanding Buddhism properly, right? And then we will demonstrate to you the chanting. So I'm wearing this robe for you for your benefit today. We wear these robes during our meditation sessions to help us focus. Because if you wear in with different clothes, different colors, it can be very distracting. But if everybody wearing the same robe, then it minimizes the distraction. Another thing to help with the minimizing distraction is the melody, the music. The music is very soothing. It helps us to focus. And that's what we're going to do, demonstrate to you, is that we're going to chant the name in Chinese of Amida Buddha, Amitofo in Chinese. And Malachi will hit the wooden fish, which is this, every syllable. And then, I forget your name. Anita will hit the handheld bell, and that is the big bell right there. So that's a handheld bell, and Anita will hit it every other syllable. So the combination between the wooden fish and the handheld bell produces beautiful sounds that is very soothing to the mind. Okay, so I will chant, and then you will strike it every syllable. So, strike it. The whole orchestra of this. So in a session, everybody participates. So it's not like you just sit there watching it play, but you participate as well. And we listen to signals. So these are signals for us to follow. Another set of instruments, thank you, Malachi. Another set of instruments that we use here is drums and bell. And we use this as part of the ceremony as well. It helps to lead. And it helps to lead the group in the chanting. So, Namo with that signal. So we use all these instruments here as part of our ceremony, as part of the service. So thank you, Malachi and Anita, and here are your gifts. So thank you for participating. Okay, you're welcome. So we have a few more minutes. We'll take questions related to the main hall. You will have an opportunity to ask more questions later on in the lecture hall. So are there anything here that you have seen that you'd like to ask? Yes?
What are the statues on the side?
So what are these statues on the side?
So we have both sides, we call the Dharma protector. So you see that those statues were in the general forms, right, with the armors. So originally, this we call Guan Di, or Guan Gong. It's a figure from the Three Kingdoms period in China. And he was believed a person who with integrity, with justice, also with great strength to maintain the justified society. So after he was passed away, the society believed his spirit still maintained in this world to protect those people who seeking for justice, and also who seeking for that society to be in the state of justice. And Buddhism, in early Tang Dynasty, one of Zi Yi has encountered a great spirit with Guan Di, so it becomes the Buddha Dharma protector in Buddhism. And this we call Veda, Gui Tuo in Chinese. Veda, according to the Buddha's Sutra's record, he was originally enlightened as a Buddha, and then he walked it to protect Buddha Dharma with all his strength, so he called it Veda. By 千万劫 in Chenghuo, means long time ago he already enlightened and enlightened being. But he voted because he saw, after he enlightened, he recognized that Dharma is so precious, so he voted to protect the Dharma. So we have all these statues.
Yeah, so this statue represents honor. When you see this statue, you remind yourself of honor. Right? Do the things right, do the right things, and speak the truth. And then that over there is protecting the Dharma, meaning protecting the truth. Whatever that is the truth you want to protect. Like not, for example, like not lying. Not lying. Not lying is the truth. You want to protect the truth by not lying yourself. Right? So that's how you protect. You protect by practicing it yourself, not just lip service. Okay. Any other questions? Or if you want more questions, then we head over to this side. Yes.
When you idolize the Buddha, do you see him as a god or as a teacher?
So do you see the God, or do the Buddha, the statue, as a God or a teacher?
Oh, that's a good question. Right. So we reverend Buddha as a teacher, or as a guide, a spiritual teacher or spiritual guide. So when we look at the Buddha statue, especially the Shakyamuni Buddha, he was a historical figure. He was born 2,500 years ago. He went through the 60 years of ascetic life, and then he reached enlightenment. He then passed down his teaching to his disciples. So basically, we see Buddha as a teacher, a spiritual guide, teacher. It's a different concept from Christianity, right? In Christianity, God is the eternal, right? And it's the all source, the universe. If you look at that way, enlightenment, it has the same quality. If you're enlightened being, or we call enlightened one, right? So it could be, we can call it God, right? If you just use the name, right, as a convenient sense to speak out. So that's a good question. But we do Buddha to us is a teacher, it's a spiritual guide, but the quality of enlightenment is something transcendent spirituality. So it's both sides.
All right, so one more question before we head over. Yes. What are the paintings of Buddhas around?
Can would you like to give?
Yeah, so when we look at the Buddha, this helps us to concentrate. And whichever direction that you turn to, you will see the Buddha. So it helps you to recognize enlightenment. It helps you to be reminded to not be deluded, to not do things that you don't know what you're doing, but to always have awareness of what that you're doing. And so these figures here are all reminding us. So whatever direction you turn to, it reminds you that 360 degrees, you're to maintain your awareness. Okay? Okay, why don't we rise and we head over to the lecture hall and we'll answer all your questions. So this is the lecture hall. This is what we do, lectures, and also where we have our dining place. We're going to give you a brief introduction of what Buddhism is, and then we'll take questions. And then I'll take the last 5 minutes or so to show you some Lego videos that the students here, they made the videos. So those, if you're interested, we have a flyer here, and we'll have free classes to teach you how to learn about learn using the computers, how to make Lego videos. Very fun. You can come and join us another time. Okay. Okay. So who started Buddhism? Can anybody tell me the name of the person who started Buddhism? How about you? Siddhartha. Yes. Very good. Here's a gift for you. All right, we have a gift for everybody later on. Yes, Siddhartha Gautama. He was born in what today we call Nepal, around 563 BCE, and his father was Sahodana, and his mother was Queen Maya. And his father had high aspiration for him because, as you can imagine, given in a tribe relatively small, surrounded by big kingdoms. His father had every justification to have somebody to continue the lineage. And so therefore, his father named him Siddhartha, means
one who achieved. So again, very high aspiration of his son. Traditionally, for every newborn, the family would invite astrologers to come to make predictions of the newborn. It was said that the king invited 500 astrologers to make predictions of the prince, the newborn prince. And there were two common predictions. One was that he was going to be a great king, or a universal king. The second was that he was going to be an enlightened person. But they couldn't really figure out what was it that he was going to be. And so to make that decision, the king invited another astrologer, a very well-known and respected astrologer named Asita. He was 100 and something years old. He was a very old man with long beard. He came to the baby, and he picked up the baby, and he started to cry. And the king was kind of surprised as to why he was crying, because he was supposed to be a well-respected astrologer, never to show any emotion, but he broke down and he cried. And he said that the reason that he cried was because this baby was going to be an enlightened man, and he was not going to live long enough to see an enlightened person appearing in this world. And so that's why he cried. And so he made his firm prediction that this baby was going to be an enlightened person. So the king did not like that news at all. The king did not want his baby to be leaving the palace to become a monk, but he wanted his son to be the next great king, right? To show the tribes nearby that his tribe could do better. So he trained his son. The king invited a lot of well-known teachers to come and teach him in fencing, in archery, in horse riding, and all the other skills. And he mastered all the other skills. But yet, even though he was surrounded with luxury, he was not happy. He felt like there was something missing in his heart, and that there was something better. And that's where he started to have thinking about the higher truth. So he wants to go out and explore the world, the city. Additionally, his father did not agree, but finally his father agreed to let him out of the city. And when he went to the city, he saw 4 sights. What were those 4 sights that he saw? You. Yes, okay, yeah, very good. So he saw OH, he saw sickness, and he saw death. What is your name? Ethan? Oh, here's a gift for you. Thank you, Ethan. So he saw these things, and it saddened him to see these things, because it came to him and thought that if life was all about old age, sickness, and death, then very depressing. It would be very depressing to have those things. So when he walked further, it was said in the scriptures that he saw the holy man, and it gave him hope. It gave him hope that perhaps there's something to look for. So he was hoping to be able to find answers to these questions: old age, sickness, and death. So it gave him a sense of relief. But when he finally had the resolve to seek the truth. To make a story short, he was able to find the truth, and he found the 4 noble truths. So what are the 4 noble truths? Yes.
It's like
Life is
suffering.
Suffering, yes.
If you reach nirvana, you'll get out of suffering. And then
Okay, I'll need you the first one. Life is suffering. Okay, what's your name? Antonio. Okay. So yes, the first truth is dukkha. It's more translation of dissatisfaction. The reason for this is that it's not meant to be something negative. That life is not all about suffering. As you know, you just enjoy lunch, right? So that was pretty wonderful to be able to release your energy after a full meal, right? So that wasn't too bad. That wasn't suffering. So that was not the point. The point here is that if you want to be better, you have to recognize that what you have is not enough. You have to be dissatisfied with what you have in order to achieve something better. Let's say you just, let's say next week, you're going to take a test and you get a B or even a B minus. Are you happy with a B minus?
No.
No, of course not. So you are dissatisfied with that B minus, right? You want to be better. But if you were to say, I'm okay, I'm good with B, I'm happy with the B minus, then you're not motivated to achieve an A, correct? So that's what it means here. Yes, life is suffering in a sense that you can be better. So the next thing is that what is the cost for that suffering? And that is selfishness. So that's according to Buddhism, the cost of suffering is selfishness. You may have what you need, or when you have what you want, like the toy that you play, but if you don't share with your friends, then eventually you're gonna get tired of that and you lose your friends and you be alone. So that's suffering, right? Does it make sense? Okay, the third one, cessation here is the state, you can say the state of nirvana, or the state of true happiness, where you have found solution essentially. That is the state of nirvana. So again, the state of nirvana is not a physical location, but it is a state of mind. So anybody can be in the state of nirvana if one, you are selfless, and two, you are happy. So selfless and happy. So if you can experience selfless and happy, then you are experiencing nirvana in a sense. The last one is how to get there. So Buddhism is very practical. It tells you the ways to get there. So what do Buddhists do? Well, Buddhists do the right things. They support teamwork. They practice to eliminate their selfishness, and they see things clearly with meditation. When with meditation the mind is calm, then you can see things very clearly. So essentially, those are the four noble truths. Okay, so wrapping this up, what does this mean on a practical side? You learn about karma, right? You heard about karma. So karma is action, thought, speech, your behavior. So the past we cannot ignore. The past happens. For example, your parents. You cannot say my parents are not my parents anymore. Well, you cannot. You may say that, but they're still your parents. Now, things that happen to you, you cannot ignore. They happen. You cannot ignore it. But you do have the decisions to be positive about it or to be negative about it. You can get angry and make things worse, or you can try to make things better. Right? So that's what it means in Buddhism here is that you have decisions to make. One is to be positive, and two is to be negative. It's up to you. So the past we cannot change, but the present and the future we can change. The present meaning that your present thought, you can decide to make things better. Does it make sense? So that's what law of cause and effect is that you are in control when it comes to deciding whether you are going to be happy or not. Does it make sense? Okay. Okay, so before we get to the Lego movies, I'd like to go around and answer your questions. So I encourage you to ask questions. It's about exploring. It's about understanding Buddhism. It's about have that established communication. So you learn a little bit about Buddhism here, and in the future, when you see Buddhism, you have better appreciation and that the world is a better place when we can communicate and where we can collaborate. Okay, so we will start down that way, and then we go down the rows. Why don't we start here? The master will join us. Have question. Okay, Yi. Is Buddhism a religion or a lifestyle?
Oh, that's a good question. So I think that's a two sides. First is a lifestyle. You make yourself a better person. Dedicate yourself to practice the integrity, loving kindness, compassion, to developing your responsibility for yourself and for society. And For example, you're now doing a school homework, you take a responsibility for your study. Those the way of life, because Buddhist practice. But it also is a religion too. If you look at the perspective of religion is transcending this secular world, or a way that develop your quality of spirituality. If quote, right, you take that as a religion. The other thing in Asian culture, we call religion is different concept from Western culture of religion. Because Western concept of religion is connection human to God. In Asian culture, religion we call 宗教. 宗 means school. The way you learn from the school. 教 means teaching. So it basically means the teaching of the school, or the school of the teaching. So in that way, it's both.
Well, let me, since we have a little bit of time, that's a very good question. Buddhism is religion in a sense that you're committing to it. You commit to something. You're very dedicated to something. So that's in a sense the original meaning of religion is commitment, because you think that's very worthwhile, very high quality, high standard that you want to commit to. It's not a religion in the sense of blind faith, where you're just seeking for somebody to do things for you. Like I pray for a luxury car, I pray for this and pray for that, and without putting in effort. So Buddhism is not religion in that sense. Does that make sense? So Buddhism is a lifestyle because you are committed to, because you think that is something that you want to commit your life to, because it's meaningful for you. So that's Buddhism. Religion, and it's not religion. We'll get to you. Okay, question. Do the statues represent Buddhas or something else?
So the statues, it have different meanings. Like we in the main hall, we have fully enlightened Amitabha Buddha. We have Bodhisattva, compassion and inner strength. And here you see the Bodhisattvas of Jujong, who make a great vows to save suffering. And on the other side is Guanyin Bodhisattva again. So statue definitely it's an enlightenment. It's the way you look at it, and it represents different paths of enlightenment. Did I answer your question?
Yeah, so different statues represent different abilities. That's why we have so many, because we all have different abilities. You play basketball very well, you do your homework very well, you get awards for best attendance, right? You get awards for this and that. So we have many abilities, and those statues represent the many facets of our abilities. You, question? No question? Okay, you. What are the 5 precepts?
Answer. So 5 precepts first is refrain from killing. Refrain yourself from stealing. Refrain yourself from misconduct of the relationship. Refrain from lying and refrain from taking intoxications. So these 5 precepts has very significant meaning to be a human, or to be a responsible human to society, to yourself. For example, not to kill. If we don't kill, what we do to other people, we give them security. If we don't steal, what do we present to other human beings? We guarantee their prosperity. Right? If we don't do misconduct in relationships, what you do to your friends or the other part of partners or your wife, husband, you give that trust and develop in a relationship. Right? So if we refrain from the lying, not speak falsely, speaking to others, what do you give, or what do you have generate for the society? Integrity, transparency, and all these good qualities for the society.
So the 5 precepts: no killing, no stealing, no sexual misconduct, no lying, no intoxication, no killing, no stealing, no sexual misconduct, no lying, and no intoxications. Don't take drugs. Like drugs are bad. You. No questions? You? No questions? No? No? No questions? Change your mind? Okay.
How many gods are there?
How many gods are there?
Oh, we have countless. So, do you mean God or guardians? So, in Buddhism, we don't
He meant guardians.
we mean guardians, right? So in Buddhism, we do have invisible beings or supreme powerful beings we call guardians. Or probably in Christianity, they are speaking about angels. But the different concepts. So guardians are people who observe precepts, who has been practicing, for example, generosity, justice, integrity. After they were passing away, they transform into different dimensions of this existence, become powerful and become a guardians. That's what we call.
Okay? Questions?
How do you get a good karma from being?
How do you get good karma for being an animal? From how do animals get totally good karma?
That's a good question. Because if we look at animals, animals has their emotions too. They know, for example, they have their family as well. Animals need a social life as well. For example, bats or dogs or others, they have a social. But how do we know the animal get a good karma? Animals, they have their compassion too. If you look at some animal willing to sacrifice himself to save others, especially dogs, sometimes will sacrifice himself to save humans. So those are create good karmas. For example, if a dog sacrifices himself to save a human from the fire, then, or the dog was born by the fire, we do believe as Buddhists. I do believe, because he sacrificed himself, showing loving kindness, showing care for others, then that's a good thing of the karma.
Next question? Can you ascend? Okay, when you return to a lower state, can you go back up?
Yes, definitely. So in Buddhist, in Buddhist, it's all kind of ontology. So in Buddhist ontology, we do believe there's 6 realms of existence: the lower realm, the unpresent realm, or cow realm. Then the animal realm, human realm, the realms of enlightened beings, the realms of the fully enlightened Buddhas. So it's like a cycle for those beings in the lower realm or in the unpresent state realms. If they realize what I've been doing totally in the past, I feel so sorry what I've been doing. Then that moment of enlightenment and transform that kind of mentality and thought, then you sincerely or repent or confess or be able to praise what been done wrong, then that's the point for all the way up to the other levels.
So highest state represent happiness, lowest state represent sadness, for example. Sometimes you feel happy, sometimes you feel sad. So you can up and down until you reach nirvana where you are free of sadness. Okay, question? What's in nirvana? What is it? Nirvana is very mysterious, but it's not a physical place that you punch in the address in your GPS and it takes you there. So it's not a physical place, but it's state of mind. So to understand this nirvana, you want to get to nirvana, you do the right things, teamwork, you end your selfishness, and you see things clearly. You don't get angry because things don't go against your will. And you maintain your happiness all the time, and you don't have selfishness. So the state of what's in nirvana is a state of no selfishness. Does it make sense?
And that's also a metaphor. That's also a metaphor in Buddhism. Nirvana means seizing the fires. So I mean, you have all fires burning in your mind, for example, angry, like hatred or emotion. It's just like a fire burning you all. It's just like a put you on the barbecue, right? And there you go. But if you be able to season that fire, remain meditation, selfishness, especially, you'll be able to care for others for yourself. Then a stable mind, those called the state of the mind.
Okay, next. Question? Is that bad or good karma to reincarnate into an animal? It's bad in the sense that it has lost its freedom to choose. Because the dogs, they don't take care of themselves. They don't know how to take care of themselves. And even if they are very cute, you wouldn't treat them equal. You wouldn't, like, you wouldn't have them sit at the same table eating your, sharing the food with you. Other people, sometimes they do share, they do that, but generally, you see them as a lower being, right? So that is bad. Okay, from that perspective. Yeah. Okay. Question?
Can you get rid of
Can you get rid of your bad karma?
That's 100% for sure. So how do you get rid of your bad karma? Transforming. Transforming your ignorance to wisdom. Transforming your hatred, anger to compassion, loving kindness. Transforming your greedy to generosity. Then the environment, the karma you create, it's all the good inner strength and also the inner compassion, loving kindness.
Yeah. Yes. The karma, in a sense, is like bad habit. You can change your bad habit. Next, you, Yanni. Your question. Do you have a question? No, okay. What does the Dharma will represent? The Dharma will represent the Buddha preaching, the truth rolling, the truth taking place. So when the Buddha gives a talk, that represents by the real Dharma, the real Dharma will, the Dharma will turn. All right, next. How do you become a Buddhist?
Traditional way you have to take precepts, take a refuge in Buddhism, the Dharma Sangha. But usually you go to the temple, but people you can do at home as well. Never take it. I take it myself as Buddha, take refuge in Buddha Dharma Sangha, and you become a Buddhist. The other way you can become a Buddhist through practice the Buddhism, the Dharma, or observe 5 precepts, observe the Buddha's teachings, then you are Buddhist. I would call the true Buddhist walking on the path.
You can make yourself to the 5 precepts and take refuge in 3 Jews. Okay, you. Where was the Buddha born?
He was born in 600 BCE, around that time. And that time we call the golden era of the humanity. You look at in the West, we have Plato, and in East, especially in China, they have Confucius, Indian, Buddha. So in Babylon, they have different pathways on that time. And also that's the time humans built up their first system for the laws, Babylon law. Indian, they have laws going up too. So that was the year.
Okay, question. Did Buddha do bad things?
Before he became a Buddha, but after he became a Buddha, already give away all those unskillful desires. For example, lust, right? But before one become a Buddha, you have to go through a lot of process. So it could be.
Okay. Next question. Did the Buddha Buddha gets reincarnated.
Once you enlighten, you become fully. Buddha means enlightened. You who enlighten. So once you enlighten, that means you will be able to transcend the cycle of reincarnation. But that's Buddhist our path. You have choice. You're not reincarnated by your karma or bad karma, but you make your vows to save others, or make a vows to serve community others. Then yes, you're going to reincarnation.
Just like when you go to school, if you have to go to school because your parents are forcing you to go to school against your will, that is reincarnation. You come into this life without you knowing, without against your will. But you go there freely, then the Buddha will come back as well. Bodhisattvas will come back too, but on their own terms. So they are very happy of where they are. So yes, they do reincarnate, but different ways. They have control. They know where they reincarnate. Yes. This daughter had children.
Oh, he did. Before he became a monk, he was a prince, and I mean, all the human luxury life. Imagine he had that. He has 4 palaces, and his father, in order to keep him not to become a monk, had him married and had him, all this luxury stuff, and he had a son.
He had a son. Question. Is there anything higher than human to be reincarnated? Is there anything higher than human? Okay, so if there's not anything higher than human, then what do humans reincarnate to with good karma?
Human is only one run. According to Buddhist ecology, worldviews, human is only one run. And the question you ask, that's really good question, because they represent, we are sort of tracks to human rights. Who am I?
So yes, there's
I'm the center, right? Others, so someone higher than I, below than me. Right? So a Buddhist human doesn't look at this way. Humans look at all the realms equally, if you are not enlightened. So yes, there's a higher realm, there's a lower realm.
We're going to pick this up. We're only about 10 minutes left before I want to show you a Lego movie. So we're going to pick this up. Nope. Question? Oh, you're really helping me out here, huh? So she's sleeping. A question?
Then you go, okay.
We'll come back. Oh, over there. No. Yes. Huh? Can you die? Can you die?
If you have an nirvana, can you die?
Oh, if you're in Nirvana, can you die? Can you die in Nirvana?
Yeah, that do you mean that if a person achieves nirvana, is he or she still dying? Is that your question?
If you get Nirvana, can you still die?
Definitely, as a physically we have no escape from the aging and dying. But nirvana is a kind of quality of your spirit, your heart, something that you have developed. So it's not die with the body.
But the body will die, but the mind is still very aware. Does it make sense? So it's just a physical dying.
So physically we have no escape. Probably someday in the future we got like some technology development. You don't have to die that way. So far we have no escape. Yeah.
Okay. Question? No? So the parents and the teachers, hopefully you participate, ask questions on behalf of the students.
And then I think
Okay, so we'll think about it. We'll get back to you. We'll like anybody to be all inclusive. Okay, question. How does how this lotus flower became a symbolism of Buddhism. Bud, Buddhism is about purity, so it's a perfect example of purity. The lotus flower grows from the mud, so it's in this world. Even though there's a lot of corruption in this world, but it doesn't mean that we have to run away from this world to achieve nirvana. The Buddhism is very practical within this world that we can still find happiness. So it represents purity within impurity. All the dirt, all the smelly stuff of the mud, but it can still grow and still maintain its purity. So that's what speaks very truly about nirvana, true happiness. True happiness is wherever you are happy. Does that make sense? So that's what it is. If it's wherever you are happy, then that's true happiness. Otherwise, you just borrow it. It's not true. Okay. Anyway, here. Okay, you rep. What? Can anybody? Oh, has anybody else besides the Buddha reached nirvana?
That's in ancient Indian, before Buddha, they do, according to the Buddhist text record, before the Buddha, there's 7 enlightened Buddhas as well. And in the future, there's a countless enlightened Buddhas. So there's no limitation because the enlightened path, as Kenny introduced, is taken within yourself and to develop all these good qualities. Once you enlighten, it means you are a Buddha too. That's how it.
So yes, others have reached nirvana.
In the past and in the future, right now as well.
Okay. Well, yes.
If you practice, yes, but if you are not, you don't practice, I don't think that you will go that way. So yes, it's how you take your efforts, diligent efforts to practice.
Okay. Okay. If you what? Do you remember your past life and memory coming?
That's a good question. Most of the people don't, but some they do. If you look at Google, searching on Google, there's so many cases. People, they will die like, for example, in the World War II, shot down and die, and then he was born as a child, and probably at your age, and he suddenly remembered he was a pilot in the World War II. Find that was. So you Google, they had that story too. And in Asian countries, I believe in India as well, in Southeast Asia, there's some young child people, they remember where they come from, and they find their previous lives from. So it's very interesting. And those are really good questions. But for most of people, when they reincarnated, because the karma, because their previous actions that were not their previous memories.
Like for example, you remember when you ate 3 years ago on this day. So something as recent as even a week ago, you don't really remember because we're so distracted. So when we are distracted with the current life, we don't remember the past. Does it make sense? So it's not that there's no past, just you don't remember.
Sometimes the other thing is, sometimes it's good to not remember things. If you remember your past life, so many powerful things, you will feel so proud of life. So that's good.
Okay, any questions here? How about parents and teachers? How about the students? Any questions? Ask on behalf of the students. Okay.
I would like to learn more about the self-motion animation.
Oh, okay. We can present that. So we have class and maybe we'll take one of these flyers, contact us. We have classes on Saturdays and Sundays, and then we gather and then we make videos, how to generate, how to shoot, how to do video editing, how to load application, the software application. So it's very fun.
Someone studies at home. things that we tried to learn this year. Stop motion, but Malachi made a very nice stop motion.
Oh, yeah, it's a very popular application.
Very smart.
Yeah. Okay, how about, anybody here on behalf of your students? Okay. How did the Buddha die?
So, Buddha was died in the age of 80, so it's naturally, once, especially in ancient times, people not really live that long life. Most of people die like a 60, 70, and he was died critically died 80. So that was a record. He was aiding the WHO that caused that effect his health conditions and then passed away.
Anybody? Questions here? Yes.
If you have bad karma in your life,
If you have bad karma in Nirvana, it's not possible to have bad karma in Nirvana. Is there a limit on the number of times you reincarnate? Oh, is there a limit on what you can become in reincarnation?
There's no limits as long as the karma, not the negative karma, is not eliminated.
But you,
So there's a limit once you create the negative karma.
but there's only limit in the sense of you cannot reincarnate into an animate thing, like a table. You cannot reincarnate into a table or a chair. Okay, anybody here? Any more questions? More questions? Teachers, parents? Okay.
Can it be just adequate to
As long as you have a consciousness, then you are, you can be subject to your inclination. Because there's a desire. For example, you want to go to a library, or you want to go to a party. Nobody makes you to want to go there. I mean, some people can force you to go, but if it was free will, whatever you desire to go, you're likely to go there. Right? So the incarnation is that you will go where you want to go. That's really free will. So if you're bad karma, you're likely to be attracted to bad things. Good karma, you're likely to be attracted to good things. Does that make sense? Okay.
Is Nirvana, if you die and you reach Nirvana,
Is Nirvana like a heaven?
How do you define heaven? That's about Nirvana. You can define as a peace. And heaven, Nirvana, if you use the term heaven, I agree with you in the sense that it generates constantly peace or the presence of mindfulness, and it letting go all those negative thoughts, unskillful desires, then that causes Nirvana.
Okay. Yes.
Is there a way to not be Nirvana anymore?
It's not. Is there a way not to be in Nirvana? It's like you're being forced to go to Nirvana.
Yeah, so the question is, no one forced you to go to Nirvana. So Nirvana is a term, right? Nirvana is a Sanskrit. It's Sanskrit. It means seething the fires. That's Nirvana. It means like you already see all those unskillful desires, but only the presence of mindfulness and peace was caused Nirvana. So once you reach that state, it doesn't really make sense because the question you're asking sounds to me, I want this, I don't want that. Is that correct? The question seems like, okay, I want to take this one. I don't want to take this one. For example, Nirvana, and not, I don't want Nirvana. Or Nirvana will still have the suffering.
So your question is like, can I not be happy? Well, nobody's making you happier or happy, you decide to be happy. So you're in a happy state. Why would you ever want to get out of that happy state? It's not a place that you're being trapped in. It's a state of mind. That you're happy, you're in a state of happiness. Why would you want to not be happy? Get out of that happy state.
Right, so nirvana basically is a state of letting go. Does that make sense to you? So, so you will not stuck with anything. We cannot reach nirvana state because we have a concept of me, this body, I here, and you. We cannot let go of the concept. But nirvana is a state that I letting go of all these concepts. Only maintain is the mindfulness and peace in the present. So that's nirvana. Does that answer the question? You can
Okay, we have 3 videos here. Which one would you like to see? Funny video, action video, or story about golden plate, greed, and honesty? Action? Okay. Action? Okay, we have 5 minutes. Which one? Okay, I hear action. Okay.
Long ago, during the time of Buddha in ancient India in the country of Kosala, there was a mad serial killer. He was the terror of the country. Angulimala means man who wears a necklace of fingers. He was well trained in martial arts. To accurately track his skills, Angulimala saved the fingers of the victims as tokens. Angulimala was the son of the head priest in the court of King Pasindi of Kosala. His original name was Ahimsaka. When he was of age, he was sent to Taxila to study in a re-owned university. Ahimsaka was intelligent and was obedient to his teacher, so he was so well liked by the teacher and his wife. Other pupils became jealous of him. The jealous students started a rumor.
Teacher, Ahimsaka is having an affair with your wife.
At first, the teacher did not believe them.
It cannot be. Ahimsaka is a good student.
As the rumor spread, the teacher began to suspect it was true. The teacher decided to take revenge on the boy.
What should I do?
So he thought of a plan which was worse than murder. He called for Ahimsaka.
That's it. You are an excellent student. I have access to otherworldly knowledge that does not exist here. Only heaven has it. I can teach you how to obtain it. Do you wish to learn?
The teacher told Ahimsaka to kill 1,000 men or women, and in return he would teach Ahimsaka the heavenly knowledge. Ahimsaka agreed to this mission and started killing people. Ahimsaka began his quest for heavenly knowledge and killed everyone he encountered. He kept a finger from every victim as a token and strung them into a necklace. He became known as Angulimala, the man with the necklace of fingers. He rained so much terror over the entire country the king had to step in. The king made plans to capture Angulimala.
Oh no, that is my little poor boy.
When Montani, the mother of Angulimala, heard about the king's intention, she went into the forest in a desperate bid to save her son. While arresting Angulimala thinks to himself,
I only need one more kill before I complete my mission. I am so close to achieving my goal. I will kill the first person I see tomorrow morning.
earlier that morning, Buddha saw Angulimala in his vision.
If I don't intervene, Angulimala will kill his mother. Matricide is the worst sin to commit, and Angulimala will suffer endlessly in the realm of hell. I shall appear as a monk and prevent this crime. This boy does not know any better. If Angulimala sees his mom, he will kill her, not knowing he will go to hell forever. I must save him from this terrible fate.
He looked out and saw a monk. When Angulimala didn't know that the monk was Buddha, he ran after him with his knife raised.
You will be my last kill.
However fast he ran, Angulimala could not reach that monk.
Oh monk, stop! Stop! Time to use my special power. I will 360 no-scope this spot.
He jumps in the air like a ninja to catch Buddha, but he still can't reach Buddha.
My martial arts are unrivaled in this country. How did this mere monk get past me so easily? Oh monk, stop! Stop!
I have stopped because I have given up on killing all living beings. I have given up ill-treating beings, and because I have established myself in a universal love, patience, and knowledge through reflection. You, on the other hand, haven't done either of those things. Hence, you are the one who hasn't stopped.
Upon realization, he threw his weapon and said,
These words are one of a very wise person, perhaps even Buddha himself. He must have come to allow me to correct my wrongs. Please forgive me. Allow me to gain peace and become a monk to study with you.
The wisdom of Buddha stopped him cold. Angulimala played back his murders. He realized he had been mistreating and killing living beings. Angulimala had shown that everyone has the potential to change and improve. By avoiding mistakes and performing powerfully good deeds to help others, one can change one's destiny for the better. We all have the ability to achieve happiness by continuing to be kind and avoid hurting others.
Hopefully you enjoyed that. You enjoyed it. Okay, so those videos were created by students here. So if you're interested, take a flyer, and we're more than happy to teach you how to use those computer applications. Okay, thank you for dropping by. Very happy to have seen you and talked to you and answer your questions. So as you exit, make sure you receive a gift. Okay, don't leave this place without taking a gift. So there is a gift for every one of you. So you may take the water with you, you may take the paper, leave the pencil. You can take the water with you. All right, as you exit, make sure you receive a gift. Make sure you receive a gift.
Oh my gosh, thank you. I was probably- We also don't want any research.